Hi friends, welcome to Hebraic Creations. Boy, do I have some important and compelling information to share. Not because I claim to be a Bible scholar, but I just want to tip you off to a subject so you can investigate it more. This goes back to November 2018 when I heard a message about idolatry. I thought I was good with Yehovah, but I prayed and I asked him to reveal if there were any sneaky hidden things that he needed to show me. Well, shortly after that, I came across a film called Sunburn by 119 Ministries. It's about the pagan and idolatrous roots of Christmas and Easter. They have other related films, and I'll run through the list quickly. The Christmas Question, Hosea's Christmas Tree, Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas Rebuttal, and Let the Christmas Trees Rejoice. There's other people who have videos online with similar information. Jim Staley has a film entitled Truth or Tradition. Going back to the film Sunburned, they quoted a scripture out of Deuteronomy that just slapped me in the face. At the end of chapter 12, it's where Yehovah tells Israel not to worship him the way the heathen worship their gods, but to worship him the way he dictates. God specified in the Old Testament holidays we should celebrate, and Christmas and Easter, they're not on the list. People don't like to talk about the Old Testament and the law, and there seems to be a cultural swing to overlook this part of the Bible. We're all encouraged to just focus on his love and grace, but he is also just and jealous and holy. He wrote the playbook. We should follow his rules. I just want to outline the holidays he wants us to observe to lay a foundation for future discussions. These are often called the feasts of the Lord, and the Hebrew word for that is Moedim. That means appointed times. I want to outline the holidays, but I won't elaborate on them because there's really good online resources and books elsewhere. So in the spring, there are 3 Moedim: Passover, Unleavened Bread, and First Fruits. Yeshua fulfilled those prophetically in his first coming. In the mid-year, we have Pentecost. And then in the fall, we have Trumpets, Atonement, and Tabernacles. Yeshua will fulfill those prophetically in his second coming. I also wanted to mention that there are 3 of these Moedim that require Israelite males to go up to Jerusalem each year. In the spring, it's Passover. And then in the mid-year, Pentecost, and in the fall, Tabernacles. Again, I just wanted to lay a little bit of a foundation for future discussion. Okay, going back to 1998, I actually spent a month in Israel for the fall feasts. At that time, I began discovering my Hebrew roots. Fast forward to 2007, I actually began observing the feasts, but not with much precision. I still kept the other holidays of Christmas and Easter to honor the birth and resurrection of Yeshua, even though I had been vaguely aware that they were not in the Bible and had pagan origins. I justified it because that's not what it meant to me. My focus was on Yehovah and Yeshua and not paganism. But then in 2018, like I said, I became fully convicted after that idolatry message and then watching that 119 Ministries film. So I decided to draw a line in the sand. I wanted to honor Yehovah, so I did the unthinkable. I threw away all my decorations. It was kind of hard, actually. Some of it was homemade and passed down through the family and held sentimental value. But after I threw all the Christmas and Easter decorations away, I actually felt pretty relieved. Now, I'm not telling anybody else what to do because that's between them and the Father. But I did test this for a whole year. In 2019, I followed all 7 of the Moedim just to see how blessed we could be and to see what would happen. One thing I noticed was the incredible amount of peace that descended over our home. I also noticed I enjoyed greater power in my prayer life. And the third thing that stood out to me was our finances. We're finally at a place that we had desired for years. After 5 years of striving, we were completely debt-free. I really wanted to share this with everybody, but I hesitated until I got 2 prophetic words from 2 prophetic women, independent of each other. These 2 women I respect and admire, and they gave me the same message. They said that I needed to share the word that God had given to me, even if people didn't like it. They said it was really important and people needed to hear it. Wow, this message had been burning in me for a year. So these videos are my way of dispersing this burden. Part of my passion in doing this is because I've already spent over 20 years testing the validity of the Old Testament dietary laws. And that was after analyzing the Old Testament and New Testament scriptures for 5 years while writing a book about biblical diet and health. People thought I was super legalistic, but I was getting good results. The kids were never sick and we were never going to see the doctors. I knew it was true if we observed Jehovah's ways, statutes, ordinances, judgments, precepts, his words, that we would be blessed. He tells us to follow his playbook throughout our generations, forever. Now, a friend pointed out to me recently that my zeal to share this information with other people must be ingrained in my genetic code. I actually found that to be a real possibility. I had my DNA test done recently. Now, I had never been willing to do that before. I had always said that it would require a dream from heaven or an angel appearing to me before I would ever have my DNA tested. I didn't see an angel, but I did have a dream. Now, I expected to see some German genetics show up in my DNA because I have a very German maiden name. What I didn't expect was Iberian genetics to show up. Now, Iberia is Spain and Portugal, which is located in Western Europe. I kept asking Jehovah what that meant, and it soon became very clear while I was reading this book, Sons of Zion versus the Sons of Greece. I wouldn't have paid any attention to some of the stunning discoveries in this book had I not had my DNA tested. What I found out was when persecution in Israel became unbearable, many Jews fled to Spain. There was already a large Jewish community there. Messianic Jews, or people that I would call Hebraic Christians, also fled there because of the persecution. They took important documents with them. Now, I won't reveal the awesome details here, but I will in a later video. Suffice it to say, it could be in my bloodline to preserve the truth of Jehovah's word. And I suspect these 2 women who prophesied identical words over me are talking about the same message my ancestors carried from Jerusalem to Spain. Some interesting facts I pulled up. 20% of Iberians have Jewish ancestry, and 50% of Jews in Israel have Iberian DNA. That's some interesting connections between Israel and Spain. I also wanted to point out that the unveiling of these things did not happen until I became fully devoted to honoring Jehovah and observing the Moedim. So I feel like I am getting some 2020 vision in advance of 2020. But I'll warn you, the enemy of our souls does not want us to know the Torah. He doesn't want us to know the truth. He may want to throw some distractions and deceptions in your way. So I'm praying for our eyes, yours and mine, to be open in 2020 so we can see the truth, and the truth will set us free. Stay tuned, friends. Next time we will talk about the roots of deception in the church. Shalom.